Makati Mayor Abby Binay has assured the public that the failed COVID-19 vaccination in one of their jab sites won't happen again. Citing the threat of the Delta COVID variant, the OCTA research group has backed the extension of GCQ restrictions in the NCR Plus region. The Commission on Human Rights has criticized President Duterte's suggestion to allow anti-crime civilian volunteers to carry firearms. An employer in Valenzuela City is under fire for paying one of its workers with more than 1,000 pesos in coins. And in lighter news, local tourists may now visit the newly reopened Intramuros and National Museum in Manila. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. SINOVAC's COVID-19 vaccine was once again put into question after several Indonesian doctors that were fully vaccinated with a China-made jab reportedly died. Let's discuss this development further over the phone with Special Advisor to the IATF, Dr. Ted Herbosa. Good afternoon again, Dr. Herbosa. What should we make of this development given that a bulk of our vaccine supply came from SINOVAC or is SINOVAC?
Good afternoon, everyone. Now, all the findings are is that SINOVAC is still very effective, even against the Delta variant. And real-world experience still shows that we can continue to use SINOVAC because it is safe and effective, and its benefits far outweigh the risks.
What do we make of these 12 deaths? Do we know any further details about these specific cases?
We don't yet. We will try to find out if indeed or they are related to comorbidities or illnesses of these health workers in Indonesia.
All right, so having said this, I guess you're not in favor of altogether stopping the administration of SINOVAC's jabs on health workers, of course, given the shot's lower efficacy rate. You did just say that these are still effective and the risks or the benefits outweigh the risks.
If it was due to the Delta variant, we still do not have any reported case of the Delta variant in the Philippines, in the community of the Philippines.
All right, what about the vaccination pace so far? As we know that vaccine supply is forthcoming until the start of the third quarter. We're expecting a lot of supply. Are you seeing an improvement in any way with the pace of our vaccination?
Yes, we actually vaccinated 10 million doses so far. So, and most of that 10 million, the 5 million was actually delivered from the month of June. So we actually delivered the 5 million doses in 3 months, but we were able to deliver it in 1 month because of adequate supplies kept arriving in the month of late May and the whole month of June.
All right. Oh, now, Doc, I think a lot of people, of course, have been questioning the efficacy rate of SINOVAC. How should we convince people to still get vaccinated despite these developments regarding the SINOVAC vaccine? Obviously, it's not enough to tell them that the benefits outweigh the risks because there's still hesitancy, very much so, in vaccine sites as well as nationwide.
For your information, many of my colleagues who are physicians prefer SINOVAC, which is the traditional way vaccines are made. It is actually safe. It is using an inactivated virus. So what happens is you get 3 to 5 antigenic responses, which means you are probably even more protected than just an mRNA vaccine or the viral vector vaccines, which are the other newer types, which are truly, actually, still at this time, all experimental. So if you ask me, the science actually, even our own vaccine expert panel in the Philippines, rank our inactivated vaccines very high and rank the mRNA vaccines very low. But unfortunately, people listen to media or what is written out, but not to the scientists. The scientists are the last one people like to listen to. So they end up with actually wrong perceptions of what is good and what is a bad vaccine.
All right, another case, Dr. Bossa, that might lead to more hesitancy is, of course, that video that went viral, unfortunately, in Makati City of that kind of a failed vaccine administration video. I'm sure you have seen it. How do we, encourage people that such an incident is isolated, even though Mayor Abby Binay already clarified what really happened and the person in the video was actually successfully vaccinated?
Correct. Immediately when that video became viral, Abby Binay and Mayor Abby Binay and Secretary Duque had the case investigated, and we found out it was really a volunteer in the vaccination site who probably was tired or urged, but this was definitely an isolated case, and they were able to have done the corrective measures. They recalled the patient, and the patient actually received the correct vaccine dose. And even if the patient himself said not to even involve already the nurse that had actually made an error in terms of vaccination. Well, medical errors do happen even in our hospitals. It's things that we live with, but we try to minimize that by making sure these things do not happen again. So I think this viral video actually helps us in the vaccine operations to actually make sure that all those trained to deliver the vaccine will do it properly and correctly so that errors like this will not happen again.
All right, fair point. Thank you as usual for your time. That was Dr. Ted Herbosa, Special Advisor to the IATF over the phone. Thanks, Doc.
Thank you.
And the Makati LGU has appealed for understanding after confirming that the viral video of an incorrect COVID-19 vaccination took place in the city. Gregorio has the story. Jesus Christ. And the OCTA Research Group wants to retain the GCQ status in Metro Manila for the month of July. Research member or research fellow Guido David said that the COVID-19 trend in NCR Plus is improving due to the decline in the positivity rate and reproduction number. David added that the average daily cases in the region is almost back at pre-surge levels of 500 cases per day.
One of the reasons we support the recommendation of the Department of Health to extend the GCQ is because we still want to be careful about social gatherings. So that's something that we want to avoid.
And several groups have criticized the president's suggestion to arm civilian volunteers in anti-crime operations. Pat Mangune with the report.
President Duterte is under fire for proposing to allow civilian volunteers to carry firearms. Vice President Leni Robredo fears that the move would result in an abuse of power.
Yung pag-aarmas, ang laking responsibility niyan. Ang laking responsibility, ang laking accountability, hindi yan basta-basta. Ang daming pang-aabuso.
The Commission on Human Rights, or CHR, warns that arming civilians without proper training may lead to even more human rights violations. On Friday, Duterte ordered the National Police to assist in arming civilian volunteers to fight crimes.
If you have this coalition, you have a list of people who are there and who can arm themselves. I will order the police. If you are qualified, get a gun and help us enforce the laws.
The palace has clarified that President Duterte is simply considering to provide firearms to civilian force multipliers.
Kapag ang mga volunteer groups ay merong banta sa buhay nila, meron din silang karapatan na depensahan ang kanilang mga buhay. It's an idea. As I said, it is not yet policy. I'm sure all these views will be taken into consideration.
For its part, the PNP has explained that they won't provide firearms as they are only tasked to regulate the use of them.
Wala kaming i-isyong baril. Kung sila ay gusto magkabaril at qualified sila, bibili sila ng baril nila. Huwag po mangamba, even the CHR, huwag po mangamba ang ating mga kababayan dahil itong gagawin na ito ay walang pinagkaiba sa karapatan ninyo na mga mababatas, mga karapatan ng ating mga members na media na kung gusto niyo magbaril at qualified kayo, makakuha kayo.
Former PNP chief and now Senator Panfilo Lacson is calling on the PNP to impose stricter procedures in applying for a gun permit.
Halos hihinto ko yung pag-issue ng permit to carry. Mag-undergo talaga ng gun safety seminar, tapos merong practical, neuropsychiatrist, talaga mahigpit. At hindi ka pwedeng yung by proxy o kaya non-appearance.
For News 5, Patricia Mangunin. We are One News.
All right, at this point, let's circle back to that appeal of the Makati LGU for understanding after one of its volunteer nurses went viral on social media over an incorrect COVID-19 vaccination. Here's the report by Greg Gregorio.
At first, this video seems to be just a normal COVID-19 vaccination procedure. The nurse administering the vaccine is even trying to comfort the recipient. The volunteer nurse then injected the syringe into the woman's arm, but failed to push down the plunger. Makati Mayor Abby Binay has confirmed that the video was taken at a vaccination site in the city. In a briefing this afternoon, the mayor appealed for understanding from the public.
It was human error on the part of the volunteer nurse, that was immediately corrected. This happened June 25 and June 26, bumalik po siya sa aming tanggapan at pinakita po ang at nakita naman po na hindi ho nga siya nabakunahan kung kaya't binigyan ho siya agad ng bakuna.
In defense of the nurse, one vaccinator in Mandaluyong City explained that they get tired sometimes, especially when they have to vaccinate around 2,000 people daily.
Yung siguro yung ang daming tao tapos na yung shift mo, kunyari 5 o'clock ka lang, kailangan tapusin. Kasi nandyan na sila, so hindi mo na pwedeng, sige tama na to, hanggang 8 lang tayo or 5, nandyan pa siya, so kailangan tapusin. Kahit umabot ka ng 10, ganun. Kasi nandyan na, pumila na sila.
The woman getting the jab in the viral video has requested not to terminate the erring volunteer. For his part, Health Secretary Francisco Duque III has a reminder to vaccinators and recipients.
Ang panawagan natin doon sa ating pong mga magigiting at namamayaning mga bakunador na to exercise more caution. There has to be an abundance of caution when injecting and seeing to it that the entire content of the syringe ay talagang naibibigay, naituturo. At maganda rin naman para sa mga mamamayan, baka pwedeng maya ay silipin ninyo kung yung syringe ay talagang naubos yung karga para pagkaisahan po natin. Kasi nga, pagod din yung ating pong mga healthcare workers, ang mga bakunador, minsan may human error. So tingin ko, wala po rito sinadya.
Some vaccinees also said they are not taking any chances.
Nararamdaman mo kasi pag yung concentrate ka, ang isip mo lang nandun. So, mararamdaman mo na may something na pumapasok sa katawan mo.
Habang binabakunahan ako, titignan ko na lang yung syringe kung na-push through talaga yung bakuna po.
The city government of Makati said the incident was an isolated case and will surely not happen again. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
Here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. The Supreme Court has ordered Vice President Leni Robredo to reply to the appeal of former Senator Bongbong Marcos on the matter of the dismissal of his poll protest. Robredo was given 10 days to comment on Marcos's plea to proceed with his third cause of action, which he claims is separate. Sitting as a presidential electoral tribunal, the Supreme Court unanimously junked Marcos's poll protest back in February due to failure to prove his allegations of electoral fraud. Valenzuela City Mayor Rex Gatchalian has met with the Next Green representative and a worker who received his 2-day salary of over 1,000 pesos in coins and mostly in 25 centavos denomination. Gatchalian will call another meeting to discuss the matter with the owners of the factory, noting that industry workers should not be treated that way. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says that Duterte did not attend Noynoy Aquino's burial, possibly to avoid overcrowding amid the pandemic. Roque noted, however, that Duterte did want to go to the wake of the late former president, but his urn was already brought to a private residence by that time. The palace official added that the chief executive considers Noynoy as a friend, but not a close one. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.